Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. How many of you have ever felt like you were standing on the edge of the world, unsure of where to go next, like the ground beneath you was shaky, and the people you thought would be there forever, well, they weren't. I'm here today to tell you something that, at first, might sound a little harsh, but I want you to really hear me out. No one stays with you permanently. And if you don't learn to survive alone, if you don't master standing tall when no one else is there to hold you up, you will never truly understand the depth of your own strength. Now, don't get me wrong. Relationships, friendships, family, they matter. But you can't rely on someone else to be your anchor forever. You've got to learn how to stand, how to fight, and how to survive on your own. So today, I want to share with you 5 key principles that will help you survive, thrive, and build a future where you're not dependent on anyone else for your peace of mind, your happiness, or your success. The first step to surviving alone is coming to terms with a simple but powerful truth. The most powerful resource you have is you. It's not about the things you own, the people around you, or even the circumstances that shape your life. No, the true force within you lies in your mind, your will, and your determination. Those are the things that will get you through the hardest times, the darkest days, and the storms that come unexpectedly. Look, we all face tough moments. We all experience those times when it feels like the world is closing in on us, like we're standing on the edge, ready to fall. But think about this for a moment. The greatest figures in history, the ones we admire for their achievements, they weren't always in control of everything around them. They didn't have an easy path. In fact, they faced rejection, they suffered loss, and they were knocked down over and over again. But they got back up, not because of some magic formula, but because they realized something crucial. They had to rely on their own strength to rise. They understood that their greatest asset was themselves. Think about Steve Jobs. This is a man who founded Apple, a company that changed the world, that redefined the way we live, work, and connect. But Jobs was not always on top. There was a time when he was fired from the company he created. Imagine that, being pushed out of the very place you built from the ground up. That could have been the end of his story. That could have been the point where he gave up, where he let the failure define him. But that's not what happened. He didn't fold. He didn't throw in the towel. Instead, he stood up, wiped the dust off his shoulders, and built one of the most valuable companies in the world. He came back stronger than ever. And why? Because he knew deep down that he was his own greatest resource. He knew that no matter what anyone else did to him, no matter what the world tried to take away, the one thing no one could take from him was his strength, his vision, his ability to rise again. And that's the key for all of us. You might be in a tough spot right now. Maybe you've lost something, someone, or a part of yourself you thought was permanent. It might feel like the world has walked away, like you're standing alone, abandoned and forgotten. But that's exactly when you'll discover what you're truly made of. In those moments of isolation, in the quiet when no one is around to tell you what to do, that's when your true power will be revealed. You see, the world will test you. It will throw challenges your way that feel unfair, even cruel. You might lose a job. You might face rejection after rejection and feel like no one is on your side. You might be dealing with heartbreak or grief or loneliness that seems like it will never go away. But if you dig deep, if you trust in the strength you carry inside, you'll find that there's something in you that refuses to quit. There's a fire that will not go out, no matter how many times you get knocked down. And that fire is your strength. It's easy to look at successful people and think that they have something you don't, that they were just lucky or they had some secret advantage. But the truth is, They made a choice. They chose to look within, to rely on themselves when no one else would. They made the decision to keep going, even when everything else seemed to be falling apart. They didn't wait for someone else to save them. They saved themselves. And so the question becomes, will you make that choice? Will you stand up when everything in you says to sit down? Will you keep moving forward when it feels easier to give up? It's not going to be easy, but I'm telling you, it will be worth it. Because once you learn to rely on your own strength, once you realize that no matter what happens, you have the ability to rise again, you'll never look at challenges the same way again. You'll look at them and say, this is just another chance for me to prove who I really am. You have everything you need inside of you. Don't let anyone or anything make you believe otherwise. When the world tells you you're not enough, show them what you're made of. You are more capable than you think. And when everything seems to be slipping through your fingers, that's when you'll find your greatest strength. So don't be afraid of the struggle. Don't run from the hard times, because it's in those moments that you'll discover the power you've always had. And when you do, you'll realize that no matter what happens, no matter who walks away or who stays, you'll always be enough. When you decide to walk the path of surviving alone, one of the first enemies you'll face is fear. And if you're being honest with yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Fear is a powerful force. It shows up when you least expect it, and it's always convincing. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you're not ready, that you're not good enough, that you're going to fail. It makes you doubt your every move, it clouds your vision, and it paralyzes your potential. But I'm here to tell you something. Fear is a liar. Fear will try to convince you that it owns you, that it controls you. But that's simply not true. You see, fear is natural. It's part of being human. Every single person has felt it, from the most accomplished people to the ones still struggling to find their way. Fear is that voice that tells you to play it safe, to stay in your comfort zone, and to avoid taking risks. But here's the thing you need to understand. Fear only controls you if you let it. You have the power to face it, to look it straight in the eye, and to decide that it will not dictate your life. Let me tell you a story of a man who faced fear in its most brutal form. Nelson Mandela, a man who spent 27 long years of his life in a prison cell. Now imagine that for a moment. Think about what that feels like. The isolation, the uncertainty, the overwhelming sense of helplessness. Every single day for 27 years, Mandela had the choice to let fear overtake him. Every day, he had the opportunity to give in to despair, to surrender to the darkness that could have swallowed him whole. But he didn't. Mandela didn't allow fear to define him. Instead, he took those 27 years and turned them into a powerful source of strength. He didn't let the prison walls break his spirit. He didn't let the years of separation from his family and his people turn him into a bitter, angry man. No, Mandela faced his fear, and he used it as fuel to push forward, to fight for justice, to lead a nation. And when he was finally freed, he didn't carry around the bitterness, the hate, or the fear. He carried with him a vision for a better future for his country and for the world. Now, your fear may look different. Maybe you're not facing the literal walls of a prison, but maybe you're stuck in a job that's holding you back, a relationship that's draining your soul, or a financial struggle that seems impossible to overcome. Maybe your fear comes in the form of self-doubt, or the fear of what other people might think, or the fear of failure. But whatever form your fear takes, the lesson is the same. Don't let it control you. You have the power to decide how fear will impact your life. You don't have to let it define who you are or what you can accomplish. It's easy to tell yourself that you can't. that you're not ready, that you're not worthy. But that's fear talking, not the truth. The truth is that you are capable of far more than you give yourself credit for. The truth is that fear, no matter how loud it gets, doesn't have the final say. You do. I want you to think about the times in your life when you've been afraid, really afraid. Maybe it was a big decision you had to make, a leap of faith that seemed impossible, or a moment when you felt like the odds were stacked against you. But what happened? You kept going, didn't you? You took one step, then another, and eventually you made it through. And that's because you didn't let fear own you. You didn't let fear stop you from moving forward. You faced it, you pushed past it, and you grew stronger because of it. Fear is always going to be there. It's part of the process. It's the thing that stands between where you are and where you want to go. But let me tell you something. The biggest breakthroughs in life happen on the other side of fear. It's when you walk through the fire that you come out stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for what's to come. So don't run from it. Don't try to avoid it. Embrace it. Use it to fuel you, to drive you, to make you better. Every time you face fear, you're building something more powerful than you realize. You're building resilience. You're building confidence. You're building the kind of strength that no one can take away from you. And just like Mandela, you will come out of the other side with a purpose that is bigger than your fear. Your mission will become clearer. Your vision will become sharper, and you will be ready to face whatever life throws at you with courage in your heart and strength in your soul. So when fear knocks on your door, don't answer it with hesitation or doubt. Open that door with courage. Walk through it knowing that you are stronger than you think, that you are capable of overcoming whatever challenges come your way. Fear doesn't have to be the thing that holds you back. Let it be the thing that pushes you forward. Because once you do that, once you face fear with courage, you'll realize that nothing in this world can stop you. This is the moment in your journey where you come to a realization that your future is in your hands and yours alone. The world doesn't owe you anything. Life doesn't owe you anything. There will be no handouts, no guarantees. But here's the thing. You don't need anyone to hand you the keys to your success. You are the one who holds the power to carve your own path, to build the life you've always wanted. When I was younger, I didn't have it all figured out. I didn't have some grand plan. Some of the most difficult days I ever faced were days when I had no idea how I was going to make it through the next week, let alone the next month. I didn't have a big support system. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. My family didn't have endless resources to provide for me, but I did have one thing that kept me moving forward, one thing that pushed me through the darkest of times. I knew I had to figure it out on my own. You see, self-reliance doesn't mean you're going to be alone every step of the way. It doesn't mean you can't lean on others, ask for advice, or accept help when you need it. We all need help sometimes, and there's no shame in that. But self-reliance is about realizing that when it's all said and done, when the lights are off and everyone has gone home, the one person you can always count on, the one person who will never let you down, is you. It's the person staring back at you in the mirror. And when you look in that mirror, I want you to see someone who is capable of moving mountains, someone who has the grit, the determination, and the strength to keep going no matter what. Because life will test you. You're going to face challenges. You're going to hit obstacles that seem insurmountable. There will be days when you don't know how you're going to make it through. But you need to develop the mindset that says, I'm going to find a way. I'm going to figure this out no matter what it takes. Let me share a story with you. Think about Malala Yousafzai. Here's a young woman who faced a tragedy that would have broken most people. After surviving an assassination attempt by the Taliban, she had every reason to be afraid, to give up, to let fear control her. But that's not what she did. Malala didn't wait for someone else to take the lead. She didn't sit around hoping someone else would step in and fix the problem. No. She stood up, faced the world, and took action. She became one of the strongest voices for education and women's rights that the world has ever seen. Malala didn't sit back and wait for someone to save her. She realized that the world wasn't going to hand her success. It wasn't going to give her the platform to speak out for those who needed her. She had to take the initiative herself. She had to be the one to stand up and say, I am going to make a difference. And that's exactly what she did. This is the essence of self-reliance. It's about knowing that no one is coming to save you. The cavalry isn't showing up. There is no magic solution, no fairy tale ending. You have to do the work. You have to make the decisions. You have to solve the problems. You have to fight for the life you want. And that fight starts with the belief that you have everything you need inside of you. You have the ability to make those hard decisions. You have the ability to rise above the circumstances you were born into, to rise above the struggles that life throws your way. It's not going to be easy, but nothing worth having ever is. Think about it. Every successful person you admire didn't get there by waiting for someone else to hand them the answers. They got there by facing their challenges head on, by developing the strength to move forward even when the world told them they couldn't. They didn't wait for permission to chase their dreams. They didn't wait for someone to tell them they were worthy. They took the first step, and then the next, and then the next, until they created the life they wanted. And you can do the same. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you've been through, or what you've lost. What matters is what you do next. What matters is the decision you make today to start relying on yourself, to start believing that you are capable of achieving whatever it is you want. The world is full of people who wait for someone else to take the lead. But the leaders, the ones who change the world, are the ones who take charge of their own lives. They take responsibility for their own future. They develop the skills, the mindset, and the grit to keep moving forward no matter the odds. So I challenge you, look in the mirror today. Look at the person staring back at you, and know that everything you need to succeed is already inside of you. You are capable. You are strong. You are the one who has the power to create the life you want. Don't wait for someone else to do it for you. Take the first step and start building your own success, because the only person who can truly change your life is you. There's a truth about life that we all need to come to terms with. Life is unpredictable. It's one of those hard pills to swallow, but it's the truth. No matter how much we plan, no matter how hard we work, no matter how much we try to control every single detail of our lives, life has a way of throwing curveballs at us. People you trust will walk away, opportunities will slip through your fingers, and the plans you spent months, even years building, may come crashing down around you. You can prepare all you want, but the reality is that things are going to happen that you didn't see coming. And that's scary. I get it. It's uncomfortable. We like stability. We like control. We like to know that the path ahead is clear, that everything we've worked for will lead us to exactly where we want to go. But here's the thing. You can't control what happens to you. You can't stop people from walking out of your life. You can't stop opportunities from fading away. You can't stop plans from falling apart. And as hard as it is to hear, you need to accept that. You need to understand that life will hit you in ways you never expected. And when it does, the question isn't why me? The question is, how will I respond? Now, I'm not going to lie and tell you that it's easy to accept this. It's not. It's painful, it's frustrating, and it can make you feel like you're powerless. But the truth is, while you can't control what happens to you, you can control how you respond. The way you respond in those moments when everything seems to be falling apart will determine how far you go. It will determine your success, your peace of mind, and your ability to keep moving forward. So when life comes at you like a freight train, you have to make a choice. Will you let it knock you down, or will you stand up and fight back? Look at the story of Thomas Edison. This man didn't just invent the light bulb. He failed over and over again, thousands of times, before he finally succeeded. Can you imagine that? Thousands of failures. I don't know about you, but most people would have given up long before that. After a few setbacks, people would have said, "This isn't for me," or "Maybe I'm just not cut out for this." But Edison didn't think that way. When asked about his many failures, he didn't see them as setbacks. He didn't let them define him. He saw them as opportunities to learn, to grow, to get closer to his goal. In fact, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset you need to adopt when life knocks you down. You have to shift your perspective. You can't look at setbacks as the end of the road. You can't let failure, rejection, or disappointment convince you that you're not capable. Because like Edison, every failure is a lesson. Every obstacle is an opportunity to learn. And every roadblock is just a detour to the success you're meant to find. But you've got to accept that the road won't always be straight. It won't always be easy, and you won't always get the outcome you were hoping for. You're going to have to deal with uncertainty. You're going to have to face the unknown and the unpredictable. And that's where most people get stuck. They get afraid of the unknown. They start to shrink away from the uncertainty, from the chaos, from the things they can't control. And when they do that, they lose sight of their strength, their resilience, and their ability to handle whatever comes next. You've got to stop shrinking from uncertainty. You've got to stop running away from what you don't know. Embrace it, accept it. Understand that life is messy, it's unpredictable, and it's full of twists and turns. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you'll stop fighting against it, and the sooner you'll realize just how capable you are of handling whatever life throws your way. And I know it's not easy. We all want answers, we all want security, we all want to know that everything we do is going to pay off, that every decision we make is going to lead us exactly where we want to go. But if you want to get anywhere in life, you've got to learn to walk with the unknown. You've got to learn to keep moving forward even when things don't make sense, even when the road ahead is unclear, even when your plans are falling apart. You've got to develop the strength to handle life's unpredictability. You've got to build the mindset that says, "I'm not going to let this defeat me. I'm not going to let this break me." Because life will test you. It will push you to your limits. But the key is to never give up. The key is to keep going, even when the path is uncertain. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep moving, keep learning, and keep responding with resilience. When life throws those curveballs, don't hide from them. Don't cower in fear. Step up, embrace the chaos. Because what you'll find is that the more you face life's unpredictability head on, the stronger you become. The more you lean into the uncertainty, the more you grow. And the more you realize that no matter what happens, you've got everything you need to handle it. So the next time life throws you a curveball, don't panic. Don't get angry. Don't start questioning everything. Instead, take a deep breath, take a step forward, and remember, you can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And that will make all the difference. There's one thing that's true, no matter who you are, no matter what your life looks like, when it's all said and done, you will always have one constant companion, yourself. People come and go, friends and family, loved ones, even mentors. They might leave, And you'll find yourself standing there in the quiet of your own company. But if you've learned to be at peace with yourself, that's not something to fear, that's something to embrace. This is where most people get it wrong. We're taught from a young age to seek validation from others. We're taught to base our self-worth on how others see us, how others treat us, how others think of us. And for many, that becomes the foundation of who they are. We become so reliant on the approval of others that we lose sight of our own identity. We give our power away. We let others define who we are. We let their opinions shape the way we see ourselves. But here's the truth. When you rely on others for your happiness, you give away your ability to be truly happy. Finding peace in your own company, learning to be comfortable in your own skin, is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. It doesn't mean you isolate yourself. It doesn't mean you stop building relationships or stop seeking love and companionship. It just means that you understand that your peace, your happiness, your self-worth doesn't come from someone else. It comes from within. It comes from being able to sit with yourself, to reflect, to understand who you are, and to find contentment with that person staring back at you in the mirror. This is the kind of strength that makes you unstoppable. When you've learned to sit in silence with your thoughts, when you've learned to confront your fears and your dreams, when you've learned to embrace who you truly are, you become a force to be reckoned with. You won't need anyone's approval to know that you are enough. You won't need anyone to validate your worth. You'll know that your value isn't determined by how much attention you get, how many people like you, or how much recognition you receive. Your value is inherent. It comes from the fact that you exist, that you have a purpose, and that you are capable of achieving whatever you set your mind to. Think about the people we look up to, the ones who've faced incredible challenges yet somehow continue to shine. Oprah Winfrey, for example. She faced rejection, hardship, and trauma early in life. She could have let that define her. She could have let those experiences dictate her future. But instead, she used them as fuel. She found strength in solitude. She took the time to reflect on her purpose, to connect with her inner self. And from that place of peace, she was able to rise above her circumstances. She didn't need the approval of others to believe in her own worth. She found her value within herself. And look at Maya Angelou, a woman who experienced abuse, who faced incredible adversity, yet found the strength to speak her truth and inspire millions of people around the world. She too found strength in her solitude. She found peace by connecting with herself, by embracing her own journey, and by realizing that the opinions of others, no matter how loud or hurtful, didn't define who she was. You've got to get comfortable being alone with your thoughts, with your fears, with your dreams. You've got to learn to embrace solitude, not as loneliness, but as an opportunity to connect with yourself. Think about it. When was the last time you spent time alone without distractions, without your phone, without the noise of the world, without the constant need to be around people? When was the last time you just sat with yourself and reflected on your life, your goals, your purpose? If you can't answer that question, if you can't remember the last time you gave yourself the gift of being alone, then it's time to start. Because when you find peace in your own company, you find something greater than any relationship, any accolade, or any possession you could ever have. You find your true self. You find your purpose. You find the strength to face any challenge. Because you've already learned how to face yourself. I know this isn't easy. It's hard to sit with your fears, your insecurities, and your doubts. It's hard to be comfortable with the parts of you that you may not like. But you have to confront those parts if you want to grow. You have to be willing to face your own reflection and say, I accept you, I love you, and you are enough. That's where true strength comes from. When you've learned to accept who you are, flaws and all, and to be at peace with your own journey. This is the final piece of the puzzle. You can't rely on others to make you feel whole. You can't rely on external validation to tell you that you're worthy. You are worthy because you exist. You are worthy because you have a purpose. You are worthy because you are capable of greatness. And once you understand that, once you embrace that truth, you become unstoppable. You no longer need the approval of others to stand tall. You no longer need the validation of the world to know that you matter. You just have to look within, and you will find everything you need. So, find peace in your own company. Learn to love yourself, to accept yourself, to be your own best friend. Because when you do that, nothing and no one can take your peace away from you. You will be unstoppable, and you will be at peace with who you are. And that, my friends, is where true strength begins. As you sit here today, I need you to hear me loud and clear. You don't need anyone else to complete you. You don't need anyone else to validate your worth. You don't need anyone else to tell you that you matter. You've got to start relying on yourself. You've got to learn to stand strong when everything around you seems weak, when the world feels like it's falling apart. Because the truth is, the only person who is always going to be there for you is you. You may think you need the approval of others to feel worthy. You may think that you need someone else's presence in your life to make you feel complete. But let me tell you something. There is a power that comes from being able to stand on your own 2 feet, to rely on your own strength, to find peace in your own company. And that power is something that no one can take away from you. There are going to be times in life when you're standing alone and you won't have anyone to turn to for comfort. That's a reality we all have to face. People will come and go, they'll move on with their lives, and you'll find yourself in a place where it's just you and your thoughts. And that's okay. That's not a bad thing. That's the moment when you need to dig deep and remind yourself of the strength you've got inside of you. You see, every single one of us has an inner well of strength, courage, and resilience. But you've got to tap into it. You've got to learn to embrace your fear, your failures, and your solitude. Because that's where the real growth happens. When you face your fears, when you stare down the things that scare you most and refuse to back down, that's when you realize just how much power you have within you. When you fail, and you will fail, it's not the end of your story. It's just another lesson, another opportunity to get better, to get stronger. When you stand in your solitude, without the distraction of other people's voices, you find out who you truly are. You find out what you're really made of. But most of all, you learn to become enough. Not because someone told you so, not because the world around you said you're worthy, but because you discovered it within yourself. You realize that you don't need anyone else to complete you. You are complete just as you are. And once you realize that, once you accept that truth, there's nothing that can stand in your way. No obstacle, no setback, no failure, no disappointment. Nothing can break you, because you know that when it's all said and done, you'll still be standing. You'll still be here. And that will be enough. Now, life won't always be easy. It's not meant to be. But it's in the tough times, the moments when you feel like you're going to crumble under the weight of it all, that you find out what you're made of. Those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments when you get to decide who you're going to be. Will you let the world beat you down, or will you rise up and face it head on? Will you let fear control you, or will you use that fear as fuel to push forward? Will you let the absence of others make you feel empty, or will you find fulfillment in your own strength and your own company? When you learn to stand strong in the face of adversity, when you learn to face your fears and failures without flinching, that's when you start to thrive. That's when you realize that you're not just surviving, you're living. You're growing. You're becoming the person you were meant to be. And nothing in this world can take that away from you. So as you leave here today, I want you to carry this truth with you. Take it with you into your life, into your struggles, into your triumphs, into your quiet moments. Remember that you don't need anyone else to complete you. You've got everything you need inside of you to succeed, to be strong, to rise above whatever comes your way. Learn to rely on yourself. Learn to trust your own instincts, your own abilities. Learn to stand tall when the world is trying to push you down. Learn to embrace the challenges, because they're not meant to break you, they're meant to make you stronger. And above all, learn to find peace in your own company. Learn to sit with your thoughts, with your fears, with your dreams. Learn to enjoy your own company, because that's when you'll discover the most powerful truth of all, that you are enough, just as you are. So rise up, stand tall, and when life throws everything it has at you, don't flinch, don't cower, don't quit. Survive. And not just survive, thrive. Because when you know that you are enough, when you know that you have everything you need inside of you, there's nothing that can stop you. You'll keep going, you'll keep fighting, and in the end, you'll be standing tall, and that will be more than enough.